So I'm Marshall Cutchin with MidCurrent, and I'm here today with Daniel Galhardo, excuse me.
Yeah.
Daniel. Daniel, I have to say right off, is single-handedly responsible for bringing Tenkara style of fishing to the United States about 10 years ago, right?
Yeah. So we launched the company April 2009, so a little over 10 years ago.
It just seems like yesterday that you were doing this.
It does. Once in a while, it feels like it's been a couple of decades, and once in a while, it feels like it's 2 years ago. It's kind of weird, actually.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
But just an amazing accomplishment that one person could actually take this traditional Japanese style of fishing, really was developed for small mountain streams, right?
Yeah.
To begin with. I know people are using Tenkara for all kinds of things now that you never thought they would use it for. But
that's true, yeah. So Tenkara is this Japanese method of fly fishing developed in the mountains in Japan. Small and big streams, I'd say, but primarily fishing for trout. And then, of course, introducing it to the U.S. and people are using it for carp, panfish, bass, big and small trout. So it's been kind of interesting to see. And nowadays you can pretty much Google Tenkara and just about any fish species and you'll find a photo. There's bonefish, there's pike.
Yeah, I was going to say, some people are using it for saltwater now?
Yeah.
Crazy,
it's kind of fun to see.
Somebody asked me, what do you do if you hook a bonefish on a Tenkara? I said, I have no idea.
Yeah, me neither. Just hold on to it and try to bring it in. To be fair, it's not designed for very, very large fish. But it was actually Kirk Dieter that talked about Tenkara being the ideal tool for small tarpon. Because they were catching like baby tarpon, a 20-inch tarpon,
sure.
And they're just jumping up and down. So it's kind of fun to see all these different uses of the Tenkara rod. Yeah.
So if I want to get into Tenkara, what do I need? I know simplicity is a real important part of Tenkara style fishing. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Simplicity is kind of the key word, I would say. That's what attracts a lot of people to Tenkara. So with Tenkara, we have just a rod, line, a fly. That's kind of the way we describe it. And just to kind of show you, what it looks like, you have a telescopic rod. They extend out 12 feet on average, so you kind of have this rod going out. And then you have a line here and a spool that you tie right to the tip of the rod. And at the end of that, 4 feet of tippet and a fly. So you don't need much. We do have 6 different rods in our lineup. This here is our most popular one. It's called the Sato, S-A-T-O. You can fish it at 3 different lengths, 10 feet 8 inches, 11 feet 10, 12 feet 9 inches. So on average, a Tenkara rod is about 12 feet long. So this gives you something a little shorter, something a little longer, depending on where you're fishing. And then, the setup here, you just put the line onto the tip of the rod, just very quick little girth hitch. And then I'm gonna tie it right to the tip. Pull the line out of the spool.
So there's no real knot. It's just a little
hitch.
Yeah. A little hitch. Wow.
Yeah, and then you extend the rod.
And that doesn't pull off of there.
Doesn't pull off. Yeah, been using that for 10 years without a problem.
Wow.
So, yeah, you don't need much gear. The Sato is a very popular rod for our users. The other one that's become really popular is called the Hane, which is under 15 inches when it's packed. So it's really good for backpacking and that kind of thing. Yeah, that's pretty much all you need.
Wow. How long is a normal Tenkara leader?
So when you're starting off with Tenkara, you want to have a line, the main line, about the same length as a rod, give or take a foot or two. As you get more used to it, you can use longer lines as well. So my typical setup, I have a line that is about the same length as the rod. So let's say the Sato, goes up to 12 feet 9 inches. My line is about 12 feet. That's good for like smaller streams. But I usually have a second line in my keeper that's about 1.5 or a little bit more length of the times the length of the rod. So roughly 18 feet of line. And that's good for wider streams. They have just the currents are a little bit farther and that kind of thing. It's so you can vary a lot more than people think.
Yeah, right. So most people, I think, when they think of Tenkara, I'm just fishing right in front of me. But,
exactly.
But I've seen you, for example, throw a fly 25 feet across the stream and have it sitting there on the other side. It's really amazing.
It's way less limiting than a lot of people think.
Yeah.
Typically you have this 12-foot rod, 12-foot line. You're reaching maybe 20 feet of distance for the most part. But once you start using slightly longer lines, you can start getting the 25 to 40 feet, distance. And then the big advantage is you have this very long rod, up to 14 feet and a half. Very, very light line. And you're touching no currents in front of you. So you cast on the other side of the current, just let the fly drift and that kind of thing.
Sure. Fantastic. Well, thank you very much, Daniel.
Thanks so much.
That's a great introduction to Tenkara.
Yeah, and thanks for helping us introduce Tenkara over the last 10 years to your public.
It's been our pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you.